Welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and if any of you folks have been following the sports reports I've done over the years, you know I bleed black and gold. Yes, I'm a huge fan of the Boston Bruins, have been ever since I was, about knee-high to a grasshopper, which means I am thrilled to welcome into today's show a prospect for the Boston Bruins, a 2024 draft pick, and a defenseman for the Quinnipiac University Bobcats, Elliott Groenewold, who just happens to be from Vermont. Elliott, thank you so much for being with us on the Sports Report today.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Fantastic. Listen, you just came off a fantastic season with Quinnipiac. You guys made it all the way to the regional finals, losing to North Dakota, a very tough team, just falling short of the Frozen Four. How do you feel now after a couple weeks to come down from that event?
Yeah, obviously it's always exciting, making the NCAA tournament. It's our goal every year to win a national championship here. That's kind of our culture. Although we didn't reach our ultimate goal this year, it was still, like you said, a thrill of an experience to win the first game in the tournament and make the regional final. And, it was a great year overall. We just had a great group of guys this year and made it a lot of fun.
In the game against Providence, you scored a goal in that game, part of a really great season for you. Folks should realize, though, you have been named the ECAC, Eastern Athletic Conference, Defensive Player of the Year, defensive defenseman, best, which means, that kind of classic stay-at-home defenseman, you're guarding the goal, you're playing defense first. But tell me a little bit about how your offensive game is picked up. I mean, that goal against Providence was huge.
Yeah, no, I've worked on that part of my game, pretty much all last summer, and I'll continue to work on my craft this summer. And I think it's a game. It's part of the game where I can contribute. I want to, like you said, play really well defensively and be really solid in that aspect. But when I can get shots through from the point or join the rush, it's always great to add that extra aspect where you can contribute night in and night out.
No question about it. You also must be rather proud that you had a plus 39 rating, which I guess led the nation this year. That means that, you were on that plus 39 means that's better than, let's say, a minus 39, where more goals will scored while you're on the ice. I mean, that has to be a real feather in your cap to have that plus 39 rating.
Yeah, it feels good. All credit goes to, the goalies. They were awesome this year, and definitely bailed me out a few times. So, and then my D partner, Blaise, was awesome. We gelled really well together this year, and we played a lot of minutes together and really found some good chemistry throughout the year. And I think a lot of credit goes to him too.
Now, Elliott, you grew up you were born in Springfield, Vermont, is that right? But grew up in Bellows Falls. Do I have that correct?
Other way around, actually. I was born in Brattleboro and grew up in Bellows Falls my whole life. And my parents just moved to Springfield about 5 years ago. So
fantastic. I've been doing a little research on you. I think I saw a picture where it looked like a family member, maybe your dad, was wearing a Bruins jersey. Is that right?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's several pictures of me and all my family wearing Bruins jerseys from, probably 15 years ago. So we've been diehard fans pretty much our whole life.
That has to lead into my next question, which is, how did it feel then to get drafted by the Boston Bruins, the team you grew up and your whole family grew up rooting for? They traded up to get you as well. That must have been thrilling.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty amazing experience. I was actually in Las Vegas for the draft a couple years ago, and I was talking to some teams. I was talking to the Bruins a little bit, and I really thought I was going to get picked in the fourth round, and I was kind of sitting there and probably the most nervous I've ever been in my life, just waiting. And, when I heard that the Bruins, traded up for a pick, I kind of got excited, and, I was kind of thinking it could be me. And, I'm just so grateful and thankful that, eventually they ended up picking me.
Now, I don't know if you know the answer to this question or not, Elliott, and I don't want to put any pressure on you, but do you know how many players from the state of Vermont have made it to the National Hockey League?
I think it's one or two. I don't know.
You are correct, sir. Two in the history of the National Hockey League were born in Vermont. Now, one of them you know very well, Hall of Famer John LeClair, just a tremendous player. The other was Graham Mink, who played for the Washington Capitals, I believe. So this is just an incredible thing for you. I mean, obviously, I hope you end up playing for the Bruins. Anything could happen. You could get traded. That's possible before you ever hit there, but that means another team wants you, of course. But to be potentially just the third player from the state of Vermont to make it to the show, that just must be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a true honor. Like, I really, try to always go back to my roots and represent where I come from. And, I'm proud to be from Vermont and grow up in a small town. And, that's kind of my identity. And, just be, my parents raised me very well of being just respectful and, always having a good attitude. So, yeah, like you said, I'm proud to be from Vermont and represent my state any way I can on and off the ice.
I'm pretty sure they're happy to have you in the state of Connecticut as well, playing for QU. You just recently made the decision to return for your junior year. This was your sophomore campaign. Was that a tough decision? Was it pretty much a no-brainer for you? Why did you decide to return for your junior year?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy decision, honestly. There was an option to move on, but I determined that I don't think it's the right time yet. Once you turn pro, you want to be in your best possible place. And I think, I think my game still has room to grow and, moving on. And I developed a lot here in the past 2 years. And, I'm really hoping I can continue that path and keep working on my game and, working out, getting bigger, getting stronger throughout the summer. And, like we mentioned earlier, work on my offensive game as well as continue to hone in on my defensive and my skating. So.
And what about your coach? What has he meant to you at QU?
Yeah, Rand and Joe Dume, they've both been amazing the whole time here. Their coaching is world class like no other. The amount of time they spend and they pour their heart and souls into this program, and I think it really shows. Like they do video with us at least twice a week, and they really care about us and they want us to move on and go somewhere big and make a difference. So, a lot of credit goes to them. They showed me a lot of different areas where I can be better. And, Joe Dume, our defensive coach, has done a great job with me of, like you said, like working on my offensive game.
It's so great to have that great coaching and that support network, and it's a school with such a great reputation as Quinnipiac for producing great hockey players and teams. It occurs to me, Elliott, as we look at the Boston Bruins now, and again, I really hope that you make it as a Bruin. I want you to make it to the NHL, period. I know that's your goal too, but if you could come in as a Bruin, it would be amazing. Right now, for the first time in a long time, I'm looking at a Bruins team that has some great prospects on the horizon. This has not always been the truth for the Bruins. They've been sort of shallow in that pool, but now you've got guys like Will Zellers, who came through the Colorado trade. Everyone's going to be watching for James Hagens to see if he comes up through. Who knows whether you'll be sort of merging at the same time with those guys, but could be coming in potentially to a Bruins team with an incredible class of young people. I wonder if that's on your radar at all.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to think about it too much and stay in the present and stuff like that. But, it's really awesome having all these prospects. Like all those guys are playing in college, and, I was fortunate enough to play most of them this year. And, it's awesome playing them. And, you always play hard against each other. And, maybe someday we'll be teammates. But at the time at hand, you're battling and you're trying to win a game for your team. So it's always fun to, battle on the ice and then, catch up a little bit afterwards and crack some jokes and stuff. So
a couple more quick questions for you, Elliott. Are you watching the Bruins prospects this year? Right now, as we're talking, they're on the cusp of making the playoffs. They haven't quite made it there yet. And this team has exceeded expectations this year. It was supposed to be a down year for them. Are you watching their fortunes? And what do you think about their chances of making the playoffs this year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough couple games here recently for them, but no, I think they've put themselves in a great spot, and I think what they did at the deadline there, not doing anything really, it goes to show like how much work they've put in this year, and it's awesome. They've kind of shut everyone up, and they've created their own destiny there. So it's pretty inspirational, and I think a lot goes to the coaching staff and then the culture that they have in that room.
And what's next for you, Elliott, in your off season, and what are you looking forward to next year as you head into your junior year at QU?
Yeah, so far, just I'm planning on spending most of the summer here in Connecticut, and fortunately enough, Quinnipiac offers the athletes to stay on campus and train and skate for free. So that's a great option, and I'll be able to save some money and be able to live on campus. Additionally, I'll be taking a couple of summer classes to catch up, so that's always nice. And then like all the boys are here too, so like you can't beat that, being around your best friends every day. And that's why I made the decision to spend most of the summer here. And I'll be able to get home on the weekends and spend some time with my family as well. So I'll get the best of both worlds.
That sounds fantastic. And, we may hit you up to come here into the studio when you're here in Vermont for a quick visit, because we'd love to see you in person, and would certainly love to see you in black and gold someday playing for the Boston Bruins. Elliott Groenewold, I cannot thank you enough for the time today. Thank you so much for being with us on the Sports Report, and good luck heading forward.
Thank you guys so much.